to make a video dedicated to this, to what is working and some common threads that I've noticed in my own sales process for my business so that you can take that and apply it to yours, especially if sales is something that you're struggling with. Number one, most business owners that I talk to have a very inconsistent process just from the very beginning of when they get a lead. So if you can map out exactly what happens and ensure that it happens consistently, you're going to be ahead of 80% of the other business owners that are out there. The second thing that's going to get you ahead of probably 99% of business owners that are out there is if when you follow up with leads that come in, you're going to reach out by multiple channels. So whether that is if you have their Instagram, if you have their email, their phone number, you're going to call and text them. So that's 4 methods of communication. Now, we're not always going to use the Instagram and Facebook messages just because at certain points, Meta might track this as like, hey, we're starting to spam people. But in the very beginning, when you're reaching out to somebody, you want to front load your communication. A lot of business owners will think like, I don't want to be annoying. I don't want them to unsubscribe. And they'll spread out their nurture sequences over like 2 or 3 weeks. But that's a mistake, because when a lead raises their hand and says, I have this problem, I signed up for this thing, I think that you can fix it, that's when they're the hottest. So you want to reach out with as many touch points, as many value adds, as much proof as you possibly can right away, like in the first 3 to 4 days. So the process that I have is I'm reaching out to everybody the day that they opt in. I am calling them, ideally 2 times if I can, but if like life happens and I am too busy and I have too many things, I'm going to at least call them 1 time. And then right after calling, before I double dial, I am going to send them a text message that says, hey, this is Dr. Caitlin with Make It Rain. So, hey, this is name with company. You just did whatever action they took. Call again. Some people answer. If they don't answer, but then there's a notification that this person read your message, you're going to let them know that you saw that. And I'm going to say, hey, I saw you saw the message. I get that you're busy. Haha, like life's crazy. But I was curious. Insert whatever question that you have here. If the message goes blue, you're sending a voice note for that second text message. And so I have just double dialed. I just double texted, voice note if I can. And after all of that, then I'm sending an email. And that is day 1. If I have time later that day, I'm calling again. I'm texting again. Like, these are the things just right off the bat that most people aren't doing. And in doing so, you end up losing a lot of the leads that presumably if you're running paid traffic that you're paying for. So you're just wasting money. Leads aren't going to come to you. We have to go hunt them down and start these conversations. And when it comes to these conversations, it's like, I know so many people resist doing the outbound call or texting because they have this internal panic or anxiety when it comes to reaching out to the leads. At this point, like DMing people, they're a little bit desensitized to it because it's something that they just do all the time. But for some reason, there's this feeling of, oh, it's taboo to call or text my leads. I don't want to be spammy. They literally said, I have a problem. I think that you can solve it. And when I have, just so that you know, when I have gone and done all of these follow-ups, people are so damn grateful when we end up having a conversation or when I keep following up with them. It could be day 2. It could be day 3. And then suddenly, next thing you know, we're having a conversation. And I just happened to catch them at the right time. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I called. So your persistence is not annoying. It's appreciated. So like that's one of the reframes that I want you to have around your follow-ups. People appreciate this because they literally said, I have a problem that I think that you can solve. And if you reach out because you're like, I can help, I can help, I can help, and it's not from the lens of I can sell, I can sell, I can sell, those are 2 very different things. So anytime I'm doing my follow-ups, I'm doing it with a customer service lens. How can I help you? Help me help you. I just want to understand. And then if what I'm hearing sounds like something that would be beneficial, to set aside a time where we can get on a Zoom call where you can dig more into what you're dealing with specifically and then potentially get you into the program, then I'm going to let them know. But if not, I'm getting curious. I'm trying to understand. And people are so grateful for your time. So there's 3 things that I have found on these calls that work so much better. And the key with these 3 things that I'm going to get into is you can only tap into them if you let go of whatever fucking like self-judgment or anxiety that you have about having these conversations. And I get it because I've been there before, and I've been calling the leads and my heart has been racing, and I'm like afraid I'm going to misspeak or say something, or I've like had a brain fart when I'm on the call and I don't say anything at all, and then I leave weird voicemails, and it's like, let all that shit go. And if it happens, just like laugh at yourself. Whatever. So the biggest thing is authenticity. And in this day and age with so much AI and there's so much fake things out there, and people are literally leveraging machines to do work, people just crave connection. And you hear that with the content that people are making, and people are like yapping content and build all of this trust with your audience and share vulnerable things. But then for some reason, when you're getting on your sales calls or when you're reaching out to your leads, you feel like you have to put up this front. You feel like you can't be yourself or let your personality shine. No, that's exactly when you should. So if you can let the walls down, not take yourself so seriously, and just call people as if you were calling a friend and have fun with them. Fun is magnetic. And when you have fun, people want to gravitate more towards that. They like your vibe. They want to join your program just because they like you. I just got off a sales call, and I'll tie this into another example here in a few minutes, but I just got off a sales call and I was like, honestly, I don't think that the program is the best fit, but I think like it's 80% I can get you of the outcome that you want. What do you think? And we had such good rapport with the honesty and authenticity. And at the end of the call, we scheduled a follow-up, and I was like, I'm just curious, what is it about the program that you think would be most valuable? And she's like, honestly, it's you. And she talked about how it's this breath of fresh air when someone is just honest, or when somebody is just being themselves and having a personality. And so the number one thing that you can do, not only on your sales calls, but like in your follow-ups, when you're outbounding people, when you're having any interaction with another human, is be authentic. Let your personality come through. And that goes into the second thing. So there's like authenticity of just like keeping it real and being direct. And then the next layer is letting your personality shine. And I know when I was initially learning sales, I felt like I had to show up on my calls a certain way. Hell, even on YouTube, I was like, I have to be presented a certain way, or I want to be perfect, or I'm worried about, I would do 3 or 4 takes on a video, and if it was not how I wanted it, I would spend hours and hours refilming to land the way that I wanted because I was afraid of being perceived a certain way. We got to let all that shit go. People are attracted to humans. And when you're having fun and when you don't take yourself so seriously, you end up doing better and making more money because people don't want the perfectly crafted version of you. They want you. And if we can take that to the next step, like, are you even being real in your coaching program? If you're an online coach, are you being yourself, like with your clients? Are you having fun with them? If you're not doing that on the calls, it makes sense that would then translate into your container, into your coaching program. So if you have this like barrier of I'm a certain way, or I feel like I have to wear a certain front, like you're not going to enjoy your business, and it's going to drain you because it's something that you're not having fun with. And I experienced that for so long, and I was like, what is it? Why do I resent my business? And it was a couple of things. I was working my ass off around the clock. I was taking myself too seriously, but I just lost all the fun of everything. And so if you can make what you're doing fun and add value and fun to other people's day, like, you'll end up really enjoying business again. And I know I got on a little bit of a tangent, but authenticity, personality, and like honesty. So going back to the call that I was just on, where I was like, honestly, like, you're not really the ideal fit. I think like if there's a perfect fit, you're 80%. And I did that with my hands because I'm a hand talker. And I was like, I think we can get you like most of the outcome that you want. But honestly, there are going to be pieces that I haven't encountered before. And so you and I are going to have to figure some things out together. And so that communicates honesty, that I will be honest and direct and say it how it is in the future in this relationship. And what it does is it communicates like, I'm willing to put in the work if you are. And I think that also, like if we start looking at the secondary conversations, the things that are happening under the hood of sales calls, a lot of people have been burned, right? They've invested in things that didn't work out. They paid people who just took their money. And when somebody says something like that, like, you know, I don't think that it's a perfect fit, but you and I think that we're going to have to just like figure some things out together. That says, I'm in it with you. That says, I'm going to make sure that I do my part to help you with the result. And that's not taking responsibility for their part in what they need to do in the coaching program. That's taking responsibility for my part. And I think that's so important because that immediately addresses so many of the secondary conversations of, I've worked with other coaches and other things have failed and X and Y and Z and like, are people being honest and are they lying? It's like, this person right here in front of me is being so direct and transparent, and it's refreshing. And that was the word that she used. And so we ended up scheduling another call, and she's like, I'm going to buy because I like you. It's like, the program sounds good, but I like you. And when you start applying that as a piece of your framework into any touch point that you do with your leads or with your clients, number one, you're going to have higher conversion rates on the front end. You're going to have higher retention rates on the back end, like where people are re-signing, but you're going to make more money because you're enjoying life. You're being yourself. Your people know who they are. So it's not like they're going to get in and then find out that you're somebody completely different and be disappointed in who you are and then have something to complain about. And you're also just going to develop real relationships with these people, which is what builds loyal raving fans. Because when they have a relationship like that with you, even within a coaching container, they're like, this person's freaking awesome. And I'm like, the boundaries are still there. I'm not going to dump my problems onto these people. I'm not going to share like, oh, I'm having a bad day and all of these things. But I can banter with them. I will keep it real and direct and honest. And that is what matters because that's somebody who holds them to a standard, who holds myself to a standard. And they know that I'm not going to enable them and that I will expect the best from them because I see what they want for themselves. They want this outcome. I'm going to lead them there, and I'm going to be direct when I see them getting in their own way. And a lot of that, like, those are the conversations that we have on sales calls. Part of it is coaching because, like, if we're also being honest, this video has taken 10 turns, but we're still going. Because if we're being honest, sales calls aren't about you selling somebody something. You're having a conversation, they're selling themselves. That's how it should be. And so by the end of the call, they have already sold themselves. There shouldn't be any objections if you've done your job right. You've addressed the secondary conversation. You've tactically asked questions. You've built rapport in a relationship to such an extent that people trust you and they believe you and they want what you have. And they believe in the outcome, the vehicle that gets them there. And you have helped them through like coaching words and reflecting things back because you're direct and honest. You've helped them pull the emotion out of the decision that was keeping them stuck so that then they can move forward with logic. So I hope that was helpful. In any of your outbounds, number one, just do it. You're not going to annoy people. People are going to be grateful. Make sure that you're contacting people more than once. The number of times that I see people are like, they didn't respond the one time that I called and texted. And suddenly that lead is dead when they were a hot lead. You need to front load all of your follow-ups. So keep doing all of that. Lead with authenticity, personality, and honesty. And remember, like, not to take it so seriously. Have fun.